Right, so second week of the people project, so sort of people in, I don't know, street scenes, interiors, or however you want to draw people. So last week I did a demo of just a single person, I think it was a standing person, so I thought I'd do something where you've got a couple of people together. So it's more about the relationships between them, and more about just looking at how one bit relates to each other in quite a physical way. Yeah. So that's what I'll do today. So I would start in exactly the same way, just getting a sense of where I want to be drawing. So this lady on the left, I won't try with 3 because 2 is enough to demonstrate what I'm doing. Perhaps get her to come down to about there, and then this other woman is about here. And this was a photo I took out here when the fishing co-op used to be there, and they used to just have their cup of tea in the morning. But that's long since gone. So it's quite relevant to here. Is she very slightly leaning on the wall, so there might be a little bit of a little bit of a lean back there. So sometimes that helps, just getting that. It's what they call the line of action. If you've got a figure sort of like diagonal, you might want to just sort of do like an overall direction for the pose to start with. But that's how I quite like to start. Just start quite lightly. Again, just sort of holding, well, I'm using a light colour pastel pencil, but a light colour pencil would do. And just holding it at the end of the pencil and almost like sort of drawing from my elbow and my shoulder more than sort of doing this sort of thing. So that's how I like to start, just get a sense of, perhaps just sort of feel my way around the pose. So I'm thinking her arm about there, and perhaps a few structure lines, that could be the middle of her limbs. And then over to her, I need them a little bit closer in actually, I think, having started with her. So I'm thinking her hand pretty much overlaps where her elbow would be. So although it seems perhaps an odd place to start, that's one point of contact where the 2 figures meet, so that might be a good place to start there. Then working up, her shoulder is a little bit lower than her shoulder. So perhaps less in line with her collar. So I thought the collar's going to go there, that'll be about there. So her head's going to come in here, back to about there. Her jacket is quite a bit lower than hers. We've got one leg doing that, and the other sort of more like that. So that's just a kind of outline sketch. And then once I'm there, I can then work into that. And as you know, I like to work from heads and faces and work from the inside of a pose. So actually her head, that'll be the middle of her head, her eye level will be about there. I could just start to sort of draw something a little bit in there. Just a few marks to suggest that. And chin there. So then I'm then looking at, just looking carefully at the actual shapes that I've got there. So that could be there. Hair, just getting perhaps an overall shape for her hair, something like that. And then just start working down her neck there, the collar of her top, something like that. You could put some tone as you go if you want, or just an outline and then add the tone later. Or if you're going to paint, you wouldn't need tone. You could just get the lines where the paint's going to go. So that's the middle of her top. Her hand. So rather than sort of work down her arm, I quite like, once I've got faces in, I quite like to then go to the hand and think, well, how much space between the chin and the cup or hand? I reckon that's about head space, so that's about there, the top of the cup, and then she's got fingers in there, head shape there, and then almost sort of working back out to her elbow. That's there, and then this side, that would be the inside, and the inside of her arm, and then working out to the outside. to there. And there's a few folds in there which we could draw in with a bit more care. Could check proportions, so on to about 2.5 to get down to there. So that's about right. I might have made it a tiny bit high. And then just working this shape, it's always, drawing figures, it's always useful looking at the spaces around people, what they call the negative shape. So this shape here, this shape between them, these sort of shapes. Any of those, you know, they're all good checkers for checking your drawing. You know, if you can train yourself to look at positive shapes and negative shapes, or negative shapes and positive shapes, that's really, you know, helps keep you on track. That's coming down to there, which is quite slim. And then, again, I could check the length of her legs and jeans, but I think that's about right. So I'll just keep going there. And then we've just seen the front of her feet like that. Trousers gathered on there. And then just kind of then scanning across then. So let's work with the face. So her eye level is about level with her mouth. So that wants to start there. The chin, again about the shoulder. So she's about there, I think. Yeah, the forehead's about the same. It feels a bit big, but that's, I think, is what I'm seeing. Just working back. But the basic idea is just keep sort of scanning across and see where one part of your next figure relates to the first. It is tricky, and it's something that I still get, you know, I get wrong. But that's, and we'll pop a mug there, sort of taking a sip of her tooth. And then her hair is coming up, something a bit like that, a little bit higher than the other lady. So that's coming up to about there. And then really just looking at shape, so the shape of the collar. Now working down, now I've got far too much space there, I think. That feels too big. So maybe I needed to be further in. So if I go back, so a hand is about there and there. So perhaps, you know, all this might need to come forward to here. Sort of redraw. Yeah, there's just a little, there's a bit of space there. But try and bring the front in there. I'm not sure, it's somewhere in between the two, but that shape is definitely too wide. So that hand will be about there. The elbow, yep, don't want to go too low with the elbow. Curve down. So it drops fairly vertically. Here, check that level, that's about there. And then her leg, actually her knee pretty much lines up with her knee, so that's quite handy. And then that will come down further. Look at this little shape here. Curves that way and straightens out. There. Back of her other leg. A bit more. Can't quite tell which feet I'm seeing there, but again, just checking the level. That would be a foot shape, something along those lines. And then it's that point I then would start adding things like the wall. I've noticed one or two people start with the environment, and I actually find it, particularly if the figure is the main subject, start with the figure and then fit the environment to the subject. So at this point, I could then put, you know, this level here, maybe this line where the yellow lines are, a bit of wall, this bit of wall, which I think is about, if I carry that on, it's just a bit higher than the elbow, so it's about there. That's coming out like that, and then the angle down here, about there. If you wanted the other lines in, they're going to come in somewhere around here.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
We'll not be doing it by the end of the
It's
morning.
the process. If you do that process, do it in that order, it just makes it easier for yourself.
It's
Yep.
the negative spaces, once you get them correct, I think it.
Yeah.
everybody's-
I mean, if you're somebody who wants to develop their drawing abilities, there are those exercises where you just try and draw negative spaces and then hopefully the figure emerges. It's quite difficult. But, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of
Sounds
the-
like it to me.
it does get you to actually focus on, if you're somebody that never looks at negative spaces, it will get you looking for negative spaces.
Yeah, can I just ask, your drawing is bigger than that,
Yeah.
that drawing. So when you measure
Yeah.
up to the head, it all depends on the size of the head you draw, does it?
It does, yeah. There's
And that, so when you get to that second lady, you've got to make the head
proportionate to this
to
one.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I go by the drawing and then it's all wrong because that's smaller and mine's bigger.
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is, if I, you know, on a sheet of paper this size,
It starts
they're going to be
with the,
tiny.
yeah,
And you're very restricted that way. So that is a way of working. You can literally measure.
yeah, no, I don't want to do
The
that, but when I
transfer,
try to
yeah.
do it bigger,
Yeah.
I'm measuring that and I'm putting
Yeah.
on a bigger figure,
Yeah.
smaller measurement,
So there's like direct measuring,
yeah,
size for size, or
But
there's proportionate measuring.
basically from the
Yeah.
head.
So basically, you need to just sort of think, you know, you want your figure here to here, and then you just got to take a wild stab at it.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's the size of the head.
Most of my paintings are right stab.
Well, it's got- but it also trains your eye to judge distances,
Yeah.
and to just do that. And to me, that looks about right. I see it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit. So I'm a bit out. Needs to be a little bit different, maybe a fraction longer.
yeah,
But you know, if that was right, I could then measure it again, and hopefully
Yeah.
that would work out then. But that's what to do it. Just try something,
yeah,
measure it, and if it don't work, you just adjust it and then
Yeah.
measure it. And then once you've got that established, your whole drawing will fit in.
yeah. Because normally I don't want to do it the same as the picture, I want to do it bigger.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
where I
that's it,
start doing it all wrong.
Yeah, no, that's the way I'd advise to do it.
Yeah,
And I've done whole kind of street scenes like that. Just picked a building in the distance or a window, and then I'll just measure everything against
From
that.
that, yeah. Okay, thank you.
That painting I brought in a couple of weeks ago with the commission one I did.
Mm.
I did it all from the chimney. I started with the chimney. I just
Oh.
measured everything against the chimney.
Yeah,
So I
no,
think
I've
just pick
never
something.
considered
But
doing
don't pick 3 or 4 things. Just
that.
pick
Yeah,
one.
just one, yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Okay then,
Yep.
Paul. Just do the chimney and everything else will fall in. Yeah.